Hey, how's it going, guys? And welcome to something a little bit new. It's Within, a free visual novel style game on Steam. So if you like it, go check it out. If you don't like it, then don't, I suppose. It's the first visual novel I've done, so let's see how it goes. Vinti! 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 The chants of my fans echoed through the door in front of me. One of my two bodyguards wrapped his hand around the doorknob. "Please prepare yourself, Miss Vinti. Once I open this door, we'll head straight for our limo." The guard had no reason to fret. I had long since grown used to these crowds. Still, I nodded to put him at ease. After taking a deep breath, he pushed the door open. "Ah, she's so beautiful." A crowd of hundreds raised their cameras as soon as I stepped out. My guards waved their arms to shoo them away. This red carpet was for me to walk on, after all. I blew a kiss for these star-struck peasants. "Miss Vinti, please, let us hurry," my bodyguard said. Too bad for him. I strutted along like a model on a catwalk. A group of reporters managed to worm through the crowd. They now tiptoed over my guards, in hopes of scoring that exclusive. "Vinti, how does it feel to have won another Calligrapher of the Year award?" a reporter asked me. But wait, Calligrapher of the Year? Seriously? Okay then. Before I could answer, another dozen people shouted over each other, hoping for my attention. "Vinti, may I get a photo with you? Can you sign some autographs for my kids? And two for me, of course." "Ah! I can't believe I'm standing this close to Vinti!" My fans stamped their dirty shoes all over the red carpet. Finally, my bodyguards pulled out the pepper sprays to keep the fans in check. What the fuck? A young male reached in my direction despite having spray aimed at his face, rather admirable for a peasant. I extended a hand for this male fan to kiss. Unfortunately for him, he fainted at the sight of my perfectly polished nails. No, he didn't. I reached my limousine at last. My bodyguard opened the door for me, and as I climbed in, my trailing fans snapped as many photos as they could. "Miss Vinti! Miss Vinti!" The crowd chanted as my car window pulled up. How odd, they never referred to me as Miss. Oh, my graceful presence must have been too much for their sanity, these poor things. "Miss Vinti! Miss Vinti!" Huh? Oh, and now she's woken up into a piece of shit bedroom. Ugh. Oh. Well, I had fun while it lasted. At least I got to ride in a limousine for a good 30 seconds. In real life, my only registered vehicle was, well, my 10-year-old bicycle. My apartment had no space for a car anyway. Actually, this single room with cracked walls might be an insult to the word apartment. Pull up those curtains for a spectacular $1 view, featuring a sewage pipe and a wall tainted with yellow. Just open the window if you wish to smell the sewage as well. A breathtaking experience. By the way, sorry, I needed to back the one room thing. I need to take back the one. Oh, that's it. This place actually had two rooms. Thank you very much. The second room happened to be a toilet. That still counted, right? The toilet clogged 3 times a month, so be careful when using it. "Miss Vinti! Miss Vinti!" A woman's voice echoed from outside. She was no fan, but rather my landlady. I glanced over at my clock. 6 a.m. Waiting for another hour or two would have been nice. She probably just wanted to tell me about another rent rise. Nothing good ever came out of that woman's mouth. I'd be better off staying in bed. Rise and shine! Coming! As I changed into something more appropriate, the landlady still kept knocking. I said I was coming, did I not? Maybe I should walk out naked if that was what she dug. If this were a game, we might get a sale boost too. "Good morning, Miss Vinti," the landlady said. "I must ask, what's with that hair? It looks like you just woke up." That's because I did." "It's a waste for young ladies like you to sleep away their youth." The landlady shook her head. She had no right to preach me like this. I wanted to tell her, but decided against it, as doing so would give her an excuse to lecture me further. With her size, if I enraged her, she would squash me into a Vinti-flavoured pancake. "Miss Vinti, your rent was due 3 days ago." "Oh. Well, at least there was no rent increase." Sorry, madam. My next paycheck will come after tonight's shift, so I'll pay you first thing in the morning." The landlady grunted. "All right. Just know that if this keeps up, you'll have to find somewhere else to live." She spun around to leave. Once she disappeared behind the corridor, I kicked my door shut. causing a piece of cracked wall to fall off. I tried shoving the piece back into place. My effort resulted in more wall fragments flaking off. Great. The landlady would make me pay for that next month. Once I became an accomplished calligrapher, she would beg for a chance to shine my shoe. Hey, I sounded a bit ranty before, but that was never my intention. A lot of famous people had humble beginnings. I would follow in their footsteps. But first, I needed to put in the work. Oh, she's so kawaii. So kawaii. And so I returned to the busiest street in my area. With my calligraphy spread before me, I sat on the concrete and rested my back against the fence. Car horns blared behind me, mixed with people shouting things at each other's mothers. These cars kept expelling fumes that made me choke. Just one of the many things I dealt with in the name of art. Pedestrians took up almost every inch of space on the street ahead. Surely this would be the day when somebody spotted my talent. Sounds like she's having sex, sorry. As always, no one afforded me anything more than a passing glance, and my will soon dwindled. Let me be honest, I never expected to be showered with praise by every head who passed here. What was that old saying? 10% of the people you reached out to will buy your work? I could live with that, even just 1%. Please, anything but 0. I wanted to scream at these people. They had no idea how much sweat I poured into these calligraphies. It's persevere. I decided to keep these displeasures to myself. People often said patience would be rewarded. I wondered if my patience would ever become worthwhile. Just as I thought this, a man paused to look at my calligraphies. He had a bucket of fried chicken in his hand. The smell made my mouth water. As the man eyed my works by one, I felt my cheeks heating up from anticipation. At last! Someone who spared more than a moment with my works. This must be my reward. The timing could hardly be more perfect. I summoned the courage to speak with the man, but he spoke first. "You're charging for these?" I managed a tiny nod. The man snorted. "I would never hang these on my wall, even if you gave them to me for free. Seriously, this is the most shameless display I've ever seen." Trolls online were one thing. Confronting one in real life was a rarity. Judging from the man's scrawny arms, I bet I could overpower him with ease. Then he would know just how big of a blunder he had made. No, restrain yourself, Vinty. Come on. You don't attack people on the streets. Folks always said to ignore trolls. I clenched my teeth and stayed put. After chuckling in my face, the man strutted off. Determined to prove him wrong, I continued to sit and wait for potential customers. Another 1,000 people walked by without sparing me a look. Lingering here any longer would be a waste of time. As I packed my things, I insisted I was leaving because my part-time job started in an hour. Deep inside, I knew that man's words had rocked my confidence. Giving up on calligraphy would mean I had wasted all this time over nothing. Yet, if I lacked the gift, persevering might make things worse. Tears welled in my eyes as I clenched my fists to hold them back. Speaking of tears, I heard a kid crying within the crowd. Looked like we had lost a child on our hands. No, wait. Looks like we'd lost a child! No! Looks like we had a lost child on our hands. Some pedestrians shot him glances, but none of them offered more than that. These really were horrible people. To cheer myself up, I told myself that I would never want my calligraphies to be owned by people like that. I should have helped the kid, but that would mean being late for my job. Yeah, let's help him out. If I judged others for abandoning a child, and then did the same, I'd be a jerk and a hypocrite. With a sigh, I walked up to the boy. There, it's okay. Did you lose your mummy? The boy was sobbing too hard to answer. I leaned in to stroke his back with one hand and his head with the other. Let me know if you lost your mummy, okay? I'll help you find her. There's no need to be scared. The kid managed a nod at last, and I whispered, "Good boy," into his ear. What's your mummy's name? Hungry. Her name is Hungry? The boy's tummy growled and I realised what he meant. Oh, God, that's stupid. Oh, well, how about I buy you a sandwich? The kid shook his head. I want ice cream. Hey, kid, ice cream is more of a dessert, actually. I want ice cream. And so, ice cream it was. One for him and none for me. The money came out of my pocket, of course. My poor, poor wallet. At least this kid could have eaten the whole thing rather than let half of it melt on his shirt. Jessie, the boy said. That's Mummy's name. Jessie? Jessie! I called as I strode along the street. Now people stared at me more than ever, enough to make me blush in fact. Maybe I should try shouting Jessie at random the next time I sold my calligraphies. The sky turned orange as time ticked by. Yes, I knew my shift started half an hour ago, stop reminding me. A woman squeezed through the crowd and scurried towards us. She ran past a red light, nearly getting hit by a truck in the process. Mummy! The boy shook free of my hold and rushed into his mother's embrace. After muttering apologies to her son, the woman gazed towards me. Oh, thank you so much for your help. You're wonderful, just wonderful. The torrent of praises curled my lips into a stupid grin. Anyone would have done the same thing. Please, if there's anything I can do in return, just let me know, the mother said. Actually, there is something I need help with. The mother nodded. Anything in my power, miss. Which way back to the train station? Well, this is a fairly interesting story, right? Right? The sky had gone dark by the time I arrived at work. I opened the restaurant door gingerly to avoid making any noise. Stealth mode switched on. They called me Ninja Vinti for a reason. Miss Vinti! The voice of my boss nearly made me jump into the ceiling fan. Sorry, I'm late. I wanted to explain, but my boss glared at me and my tongue slurred out a bunch of syllables. My explanation was in there somewhere, probably. Maybe. I received an earful from my boss, but at least I got to keep my job. Several colleagues shot me frowns for not being here during such a busy period. In the end, I took all the blame without complaint. Well, at one point I locked myself inside the toilet and screamed into the bowl. I also might or might not have fantasized about dunking my workmates' heads into the toilets. That was for me alone to know though. At least I earned the paycheck needed to keep my landlady quiet for another month. As for the month after that, well, we'd see when the time came. All I wanted was to pursue my art, but reality kept pressuring me towards finding a second job. On my way home, I spotted a banner for an upcoming visual novel named Princess Aria. The game had long been hyped on every forum I knew. Amazing art along with a cast of famous voice actors. The writer and composer were big names too. For Princess Aria to have an ad this big, there must be a lot of money put behind the project. The way this banner hung high gave me a sense it was extra important. Bright lights shone on the princess's face to impress potential players. Yes, that's what I really needed. If I had a banner like that, no doubt people would line up to buy my calligraphy. I could already imagine how folk would react as I walked along the streets. Hey, I think that was Vinti. Wow, no way! You mean that famous calligrapher I see on those banners? Yeah, she must be really good. Maybe we should ask for her autograph. My agent would then step in to speak with them on my behalf. Please line up in an orderly fashion, everyone. How much for an autograph? Shut up and take my money! My agent nodded in response. Autographs are available for $100, thanks. $100 for an autograph? Fucking hell. That would be $100, thanks, the game's shop owner said. Princess Aria cost twice what I had predicted. If I bought the game, I would have too little left for rent. I opened my wallet hoping I might have more cash on hand than I realised. Turned out I had less, actually. I hung my head and the storekeeper sighed. His arched brows pressed me into buying the game. I did ride 3 trains to get here. Might as well pick something up. I told the shopkeeper how much money I had, and he shook his head. The store owner pulled out a different game from under his table. He brushed away the dust on it so I could see the cover. The title read Sunflower War, some visual novel about the battlefield. Copyright 1997, the bottom read. No wonder it was so cheap. Art by Invert Mouse, whoever the heck that was. Oh, nice little self-advertising there, Invert Mouse, well done. Invert Mouse made this game, by the way. The front cover would fit perfectly in a kindergarten classroom. I flipped the case to see what was highlighted on the back. This game supported up to 640 by 480 resolution, truly the pinnacle of technology. The shopkeeper grimaced. He must have sensed I wanted to say no. His stare made my palms stain with sweat, and I ended up buying the game. Dealing with folks like that had always been a weakness of mine. Remind me to never visit the store again. Oh dear, poor Vinti. She does seem like a bit of an idiot though. With heavy strides I returned to my apartment. 0 calligraphy sales, late for work, and with rent topped off by blowing cash on some game I had no interest in. What I really wanted to play was Princess Aria. Forcing myself to suffer anything else would just upset me further. No, have a little game, you paid money for it, dumbass. I did spend money on Sunflower War. Might as well give it a go. The day left me pretty drained, so this relic of a game would do a good job putting me to sleep. I switched on my laptop and inserted the disc, which I partly hoped would fail to load from old age. Too bad it worked just fine. No doubt a lot of people were loving Princess Aria right now. Meanwhile, here I was enjoying this 640 by 480 godsend. No voice acting either. Oh, really? No voice acting? Damn. That's what you got me here for, Vinty. These illustrations look like they were done by a child. I'd be better off closing my eyes and imagining my own artworks. The grass reached up to our knees. As I read along, I painted an image of the scene in my head. The plants rustled as we waded through. We paused once every few steps, fearing there might be snakes hiding amongst the bushes. Somehow we managed to survive the evening. The sun emerged from beyond the horizon, outlining the earth with an orange glow. Slowly, the blue sky emerged and vanquished the darkness that had haunted us. As light bathed the soil, I found myself in a field of sunflowers. I had imagined this place to look far more terrifying, but anxiety had merely been playing tricks on me. I drew a deep breath to savour the morning fragrance. In the distance, birds chirped as if applauding our survival. I could see it. Not only that, but touch, hear and smell too. An experience crafted by my imagination. The image rivaled the strokes of any artist, and it belonged to me alone. This fulfillment inspired me to take things further. The blast of gunfire deafened us. As we dove behind the wall, a bullet whizzed past the tip of my helmet. Sam had passed this helmet onto me with her dying breath. I would carry on her legacy. The desert heat pinched sweat from our every pore. I desperately wanted to empty this water bottle down my throat, but with no help in sight I must conserve every drop. Joe's eyes closed, this time never to reopen. Despite our promise to survive together, only I managed to live. How I wished I could take her place. I finished reading Sunflower War right as the clock struck 3 AM. How so many people had missed this classic left me dumbfounded. Actually, that would be a lie, as I too had every intention of tossing the game aside. I kept demanding excitement without offering an ounce of passion in return. If I played my part, I might be able to discover so much more. As Sunflower War's credits rolled, I realised just how small the development group was. The team probably knew they stood no chance against the bigger studios, yet they still did their best with dated technologies to deliver a vision they believed in. The happiness they felt when working on the project poured out of every line in this game. I could gaze right into their hearts. Heart, the thing I had long neglected. What the fuck? Mummy! Daddy! Vinty, what is it, darling? Look, it's my calligraphy! Honey, it's calligraphy, but that's great. I think you have a lot of talent. Hee, this is so much fun. I'm going to become a calligrapher. A calligraphy baker. I had forgotten the last time I found joy in calligraphy. Every stroke these days felt like a grocery chore. All I obsessed over was how much, or rather how little, people paid attention to my efforts. My works no longer possessed heart, and I failed to notice it. Time to do something about that. I could hardly wait to start. After all, I chose this path because I loved it. Oh, she looks so happy there. Oh. I like how the developers just plugged the shit out of themselves in that bit. The next day I ventured outside with a new set of calligraphies. Though I made no sales thus far, I still found myself beaming. That might explain why some people smiled back. Perhaps it was the weather, but I swore everyone felt warmer today. Mummy, there she is, the ice cream lady! A boy dragged his mother in my direction. It was that kid I helped out yesterday. The mother and I exchanged nods. Honey, the lady has a name. It's rude to call her the ice cream lady. What's her name then? Oh my, it's, well, sorry, what is it? It's Vinty. The mother slapped the boy on the back. See, her name is Miss Vinty. Mummy, can we buy one of these doodles from the ice cream lady? Doodle must be another word for top-of-the-line calligraphy. No other explanation could restrain me from shaking the brain out of this boy. My name was nowhere inside that little brain anyway. The mother checked her wallet and her face scrunched up the way mine often did. All good, madame. I knew how it felt to be living on the edge of being homeless. Please, the boy nagged on. This showed why I would never have kids. The mother relented at last and bought one of my works. Guessed the boy wanted to repay my kindness. I gave his chair a ruffle as thanks. After flashing his missing tooth with a grin, he pulled his mother back into the crowd. Well, at least I scored better marks than yesterday. Another man strolled towards me. Wow, I was on a roll now. With heart on my side, my fame and fortune had arrived. Clean my shoes, peasants. Hey! Oh, hey, it's you again! The man said. Oh, the troll from yesterday. I calmed my thoughts to avoid causing a scene. Maybe the guy came to apologise. Even a creep like him must know how rude he'd been. Yes, my aura had cleansed him of all evil thoughts. Go on, empty your wallet at my greatness.
Wow, these new scribbles are even worse than the ones you brought last time!
More sex noises. Somehow, I had turned into an internet celebrity. Top comment. Damn, snap! Wow, she went full crazy, lol. Triangle Mouth 07, Illuminati confirmed. She be like, why you no buy? Haha. More like this might be a good time to look for a second job. I still have no fucking idea what's happening, but thank you for playing. What the fuck? Wait a minute. Venti, 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 blah 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 blah. Okay, so if we stay in bed, I snuggled back into my blanket. The landlady could knock all she wanted, but my focus on my calligraphy dreams. I had no time for these common folk matters. A week later, turned out the landlady was chasing me for my rent. By the time I realised, she had already evicted me. Now I lived on the streets with nothing but my calligraphies. The past few nights had been freezing cold, and I ran out of tissue to wipe my runny nose with. To make things worse, I could feel my head heating up from an oncoming fever. Might I interest you in buying one of my works? I got a 2 for 1 deal today. Bad end. Okay, so that was a bad end, right? Blah 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 blah. So if I get up, yep. Blah 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 blah. Let's just go through all the endings because I think I got the good end first time round, I guess. So rant. Enough was enough. I sprang off the ground and kicked the fence behind me. The crowd stared as I ranted on and on about their ignorance. It felt so good to let loose. These people knew how to spot real art. No, if these people knew how to spot real art, my career would have already kicked off. 2 days later, my eruption made its way onto the internet. Guys, make sure to never buy anything from her. She's nuts. Ugh, who does she think she is? Spread the news to everyone. We need to make sure people like that never get anywhere. My career was doomed. If I knew one mistake would destroy everything, I would have kept my trap shut. How I wished I could relive that day. Bad end. Okay, right, so... attack or restrain. Oh, what happens if I attack him? I crunched up one of my calligraphies and rose. This man must have sensed my violent intent, as he backed a step and shielded his face with his bucket of chicken. I threw a punch at him before he could flee into the crowd. My fist connected with the side of his head. That marked the first time I had ever hit someone. My knuckles hurt from the blow, but seeing the guy's dropped jaw made it worthwhile. He probably grew up this way because no one ever dared to punish him. A couple of pedestrians popped in and held me back from attacking the man further. I squirmed against their grips, but gave up as my anger waned. Once my breathing returned to normal, the civilians loosened their hold and I brushed myself free. Oh, I'll remember this! The man fled for the train station, eating another piece of chicken as he did so. I hoped he choked on it. The next morning, someone knocked at my door. I checked the clock, 5 AM. When would the landlady cut me a break? Miss Vinty, it's the police. I cupped a hand over my mouth as if keeping quiet would make the police go away. They must be here to ask about the assault yesterday. That guy I punched was nothing but talk. I should have let him ramble. God knew what would befall me now. I prayed I would at least be spared a jail sentence. Tears streaked down my cheeks as I buried myself under the blanket. This had to be nothing more than a bad dream. Bad end. Right, so, what have we learned today, people? We've learned that if you are renting a property, or indeed, even if you've bought a place, if you've got a mortgage, then pay for it. Like, get up, talk to the people, pay for it, right? That's moral number 1. First moral of the day, right? The next one is be patient, persevere, don't go ranting and screaming at people. It's never going to do you any good. Nobody wants to do that. And if someone's getting on your nerves, restrain yourself. Don't attack them, because otherwise the police will come and then you'll be raped in prison. What happens if we ignore the boy? Sorry, kid. Miss Vinty had a job to go to. Convincing myself that another person would help him, I headed off to work. The next morning, the kid from yesterday appeared on the news. The reporter announced he had gone missing. Guilt seized my heart and threatened to crush it. I ended up being just as selfish as the people I had criticised. A lowlife like me had no right to dream about success. I could never return to that place without being tormented by remorse. And so, my little stint as an artist came to an end. Bad end! I can't remember if there was one more, so let's quickly have a look. Sleep. Forget it. I only bought Sunflower War out of pressure. After shoving the game in my bin, I crawled into bed. For the next few weeks I tried over and over to sell my calligraphies, but all of my work remained untouched. Well, aside from a few pedestrians who stepped onto them by mistake. Wait, my bad. I did make one sale. This one guy said he needed my calligraphy to use as toilet paper. I had zero passion left for calligraphy. In fact, just thinking about it fueled me with anger. This was no longer the career for me. Today, I chose to retire for good. Bad end. Right, so that's basically all the ends, I think. I've done everything. So I hope you've enjoyed this free little game. Like I said, obviously it's free on Steam if you want to buy it. Well, don't buy it. You know what I mean. So stop judging me. I didn't mean it. Yeah, if you want it, it's free on Steam. Just type without within. Why am I explaining shit like that to you? You know what to do. So with that, I will bid you adieu. Goodbye, guys. I hope you've enjoyed. Bye!